Speech recognition.
Live now. Hello, everybody. Reggie Middleton doing an AMA, Ask Me Anything. I'm going to try and address each and every critical question that anybody has regarding our Reggie, please Veritize Australia. I'll look into it. Thank you, Harmony. Regarding our upcoming product launch. Again, as you know, I'm very, very excited because we are on the lightning timetable, and the private beta has incorporated all the feedback from everybody who was involved in the private beta. Very, very interesting feedback, and almost everything that was complained about. I know I'm not still sick. I'm doing very well, thank you. You know, it was a rough week, but part of the problem is I had to go to DC while I was sick, which didn't make it any better in 20-degree weather. But you'll be seeing soon why I went to DC. Very exciting things. Almost all the feedback and recommendations that were given in the private beta period over the past week has been incorporated. So those who are in the private beta, just go back up to the link that was given you and try it out and see if your issues have been resolved. Believe it or not, most of the issues were basically communication. We had to have more intuitive tooltips and just more, communication between the user and the UI. Very good, it's very slick. We're still on schedule for a public beta release the first week of January. Of course, that can always change, and you know how software development is. And this is actually not just software development. This is financial analytics, financial engineering, software development, etc., etc. But it's doing very well. Did I meet with Obama again on the latest trip to DC? No, I did not. I would like to meet with him again to finish up the conversation, but I met with some very, very influential and powerful people. I put together a team that I think is top-notch and currently doesn't, before now, didn't even exist in the crypto space. I'm not ready to make that public yet, but I think I may do so relatively soon. We'll see how things go. And yes, we're gonna take the Vader technology and we're gonna apply it to politics. And we're gonna do that relatively soon. So let me start answering questions, but before I do answer questions, we're gonna do the requisite requests. 104 people, 105 people online. I want everybody hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Hit that like button, okay? And then hit the share button and share to everybody in your social media networks. Do that right now. Let's get a crowd going, and I'll talk until my energy wears out. So, questions. And yes, I am feeling better. There's nothing like having flu and walking pneumonia to make a brother feel like he should have stayed in bed, okay? So, any questions you have for me? If you don't have any questions, I'll try and go over the roadmap. The private beta, Reggie's gonna be, well, thank you. I love all the love I'm getting. So I'm not gonna say not give me love, keep giving me love. If you have any questions, I wanna give as much clarity to what we're doing as where we are as possible. I also want to, again, address fundamentals in companies. We have tried hard to secure intellectual property rights, to create actual intellectual property. No, you can't withdraw US dollars through the Veda. The Veda is crypto only, but we will have fiat locked tokens like Veri.USD, Veri.Euro. The issue is you have potential regulatory issues like you do with almost everything. When we do peer-to-peer transactions, we will do some fiat locked tokens, okay? And these are one-on-one peer-to-peer transactions. When the beta gets towards the end of the public beta, I will personally, not corporate, but personally, take the beta and start buying assets with it. And you can see me make and or lose money in real time with the beta. I'll also do it with the company as well, okay, Veritaseum, separately. We'll also be giving out Veda packages to those who can add value or influential, and we'll show them how it actually works. So again, not only do I eat my own dog food, but I prepare gourmet meals out of this food, and I dine on it. How about a mail list to get a link for the public beta? Follow me on Twitter, okay, or follow me on Facebook, or follow me on YouTube. But Twitter, I'm very prolific on. Okay, and when the public beta is announced, when it's ready, I will announce it through the social media channels. of which Twitter will be guaranteed, most likely Facebook as well. People are getting fed up with centralized exchanges, and when we see a Veritaseum exchange, well, Veritaseum allows peer-to-peer. So I don't know if the term exchange even fits. It allows individuals and entities to deal directly with each other. So I don't know if that's considered an exchange. Any updates from the GSC launch? No, I don't have any updates on the GSC. Do we get our very back after putting it into the Veda like Populous? I don't know about Populous. Populous is a totally different company. With the Veda, you have two different types of renting. You have contract rent and you have economic rent. Economic rent, you don't get the tokens back. With contract rent, you do, unless there's a default. If there's a default, then you get the collateral instead of the actual tokens put up. That was explained in significant detail in many, many other videos, by the way. So just look into the history. I saw you showing very rental. Does one get there? I just answered that question. When can you chat to Cliff again? Well, that's up to Cliff. You have to ask Cliff. Okay, I'm always willing. Cliff is a bright guy, and he's a fair guy and objective. So it's a pleasure talking with him. Then when can we stop depending on centralized exchanges? I think that time may be coming. I can tell you one issue that I have with centralized exchanges, and they act as a gatekeeper. If you notice, Veri is not listed on any of the major centralized exchanges, which is unfortunate. I think Veri is a significant small business with mega business potential. We have an extremely strong and very unique business model, highly ultra disruptive. We have patent applications, we have functional product, we have known management. But alas, I guess that's not good enough to be listed on an exchange. But there are many other tokens traded on an exchange, such as Dogecoin, etc., that I guess I'm not smart enough to understand what they have. So either I'm wrong, or it's possible that certain exchanges are acting as a gatekeeper, which is replicating the legacy businesses, which this whole crypto thing is supposed to be able to obsolesce. So is exposure a one-time charge, or is it a recurring charge over the duration you choose? It's a one-time charge. Veritaseum or prepaid fees for our products and services. Use the Veritaseum to get into the financial machine, of which the Veda is the first one in this new blockchain edition of Veritaseum. Haha, best comment ever. Can you veritize at the Delta? Okay, look into it. Can you set the Veda to keep rolling over profits automatically into the next exposure? Currently you cannot, but that is a very interesting request. It's a good idea. Send an email in and make the suggestion. I think that's something that should go into the to-do list for the developers. If one Veritas token gives me 100 ETH of exposure, does this mean I would have to provide the Veda with 100 ETH? Of course. Or you can go and borrow the 100 ETH from somebody else, but the ETH has to be there. On contract rent, do we get percentage of the value or token, or percent of the gains from the deal? With contract rent, you get basically a interest rate, just like a rent from an apartment. With the economic rent, you get a percent of the deal. So you have to decide which way you want to go, the percent of the deal or a percent of the actual tokens put in. There are different risk parameters, different risk reward parameters. Okay, Can you set the Veda to keep rolling over profits? Just answer that one. Dogecoin to the moon. Okay, William already. More power to you. Let's get Veri on Binance. We can do it. Pump them with requests. Well, if Binance wants us, then ask Binance. If everybody here, you have 158 people here. If you really want it on Binance, go ahead and request it from Binance. Listing on exchanges is not something that we're aggressively pursuing. Our business model is to create value. Exchanges are basically for convenience. It's a market-based way of setting a retail price for us. So, we find it useful in that perspective. But our business is so much greater than trading, tokens on an exchange. Much, much greater. Again, as a utility-based token and as a company with a very strong disruptive business model and a multi-trillion-dollar addressable market, there's significant value to be had, much more value than can ever be gained by someone who's attempting to speculate and buying low and selling high. And we're talking about buying and producing and producing. As a matter of fact, there's a term that I like to apply, conspicuous production. If you are familiar with the term conspicuous consumption, where you have new money, and that new money basically doesn't know how to act, so they buy things such as Lamborghinis and Ferraris and McMansions, making the old money cringe in response. Well, the new business models afforded by this new technology as applied by Veritaseum, Veritas tokens, will enable conspicuous production. So we will create value, and we will create so much value as to make the legacy industries cringe, okay, at the amount of value made, at the level of margins being crushed, and at the new expansion of the new business models and how they grow. Let's get very on Binance. Ready to study, understand crypto space. Want to learn? Terrible thing being old. Old has nothing to do with it. Just remember to learn, okay? Every paradigm shift brings new technology in. That new technology doesn't destroy businesses or industries, but it enables new business models, and those new business models are what bring the dinosaurs out the pasture and back to the woodshed. Keep that in mind. Will you be able to cash out with USD on Veri? No, currently it's not trading US dollars. We do have that in works though. We're writing the code for that, but that will be regulatory specific depending on your regulatory domicile regime. So certain areas may allow it, certain areas may not. Thank you, Geronimo Maldonado, who says he never used Twitter, but he turned on alerts just for this. I appreciate it. On contract rent, do we get percentage of the value? Okay, we answered that. Let's go to the beginning. Pardon my hand, everybody. This is going to be huge for Marcel Rajmakers. Any timeline on Veri getting listed on other exchanges, Reggie? I answered that. Those exchanges are individual businesses. They're private businesses. I have no control over them. If they want to list them, they should. I think we're a strong business, strong token. It's all positives. But remember, I have a built-in inherent bias. I'm the founder, okay? But again, if they want to list them, please do. If you need any help from us, contact us. But being listed on an exchange is now a business model. Our business model is pure, hardcore value creation. Thank you very much. Who else said I'm looking good? Curious, I appreciate that. Compliments get you everywhere. Which month for you would be the most important? All aspects of Veri. It's hard to tell. You know, remember, we're negotiating, we're making deals, we're learning, we're teaching, we're developing, we're engineering. These things don't have clocks attached to it. It's not as if you go to work at 9 a.m., you punch out at 5 and get a paycheck at the end of the week. We come up with new ideas, new business models, we create products around them. The products work hard, they look disruptive. Then we have to educate potential customers, clients, and the rest of the world, governments, regulators, and everybody else, how it should work, why it should work, does it work, and the fact that it's not the end of the world and it's not poison, but what it actually is the best thing since sliced bread. This truly is Internet 2.0 on a grander scale, where the Internet itself, Internet 1.0, was the transfer of information packets. Veritaseum allows a peer-to-peer transfer of value packets, programmable value packets. Heavy stuff. Tipping point is coming, now exciting, making history. Hypothetically, how long can one token last on a platform? One token can last as long as you want currently, because there's no time limit, but we're going to adjust the pricing and make it more realistic. Of course, the longer the exposure, the more you should pay for that exposure. We set up a very rudimentary pricing regimen simply because we wanted to get the product up and running. So we're going to fine-tune it and make it realistic as time goes on. With a very P2P capital markets trade all ERC20 tokens upon launch, it will trade whatever it will gain access to whatever tokens the Veritaseum research team and hypothetically, potentially other research teams who pass muster feed into the Veda, and the Veda decides it's worth muster. With that being said, the Veda is not a trading instrument. It's a value exposure instrument. The Veda basically relies upon fundamental analysis and macroeconomic, global macroeconomic analysis. It's not a trading device, so it's not a black box trader. So, you know, you don't go in this token that minute, come on that minute, etc. I am definitely not big. Some reason we're not focusing. I have no idea why. I am not big on trading. The camera just went out of focus. Well, hopefully you can follow my voice. I'm not big on trading, probably because I'm not a trader. Again, I'm strong on fundamental analysis, forensic analysis, and analytics. I back it up with global macroeconomic analysis, and that's what we're doing in this digital currency, digital asset space. Okay, I think we are very unique. You know, we bring a very interesting bent to it, and we're looking to monetize that by creating dynamic, actionable research, and that's what the beta is. Cannot wait for you to take out the dial. Okay, I don't think that's going to be very hard. We're going to go for it. What about F-Slow network? How does it affect Veriops? So far, it hasn't affected us at all. If you think F is slow, you must think Bitcoin stands still. And you definitely should never trade stock with a T+1, T+2, T+3 settlement. How long do you anticipate including 98 million into circulating supply? Well, that all depends on how successful we are. You know, if you're extremely successful, that 98 million gets included tomorrow afternoon. Of course, I don't think we'll be that successful, but the way it works is the $98 million is our product that we're selling to customers and clients. The more we sell, the more money we make. The more we sell, the more money each and every Verio holder makes, because that increases the economic network value of that token, in addition to the utility value of the token itself. Let's finish this question. Meaning getting that many deals done to sell your portion of the holdings. Okay, it's not really our portion of the holdings. That's inventory. You know, Mercedes, Tesla creates cars. They have 500 cars in inventory ready to go out to Tesla dealers throughout the East Coast. You know, those cars are not Tesla's portions of holdings. Those cars are Tesla's inventory. Okay, the longer Tesla holds on to that inventory, the less money they're making in terms of revenue. Okay, so our goal is to sell as much and as many as we can, as quickly as we can, but we have to sell it to the right individuals or entities or companies or family offices or sovereign nations, etc., sovereign wealth funds. So there's going to be some friction, there's going to be a lag on those sales, but the goal is to sell them. Okay, Veritaseum is not the typical token based entity I think many are used to. You know, we don't attempt to create value by limiting supply. That's not creation of value, that's a shell game. Okay, we create value by making things more valuable, by creating something that the world needs and the world feels that need to purchase. Once they purchase it, the world uses it, and the more the world that uses it, the more valuable those things that they purchased are. So round robin effect, the network effect, Metcalfe's law. Okay, we don't attempt to limit supply, or we don't attempt to artificially boost demand. We boost demand by making something that is to be sought after. It's a very, very important point, because a lot of people seem to be stuck on this 98 million supply nonsense, and they don't even bother to ask how is value created, what are your margins, you know, what are the revenue rates with revenue growth rates, business plans, etc. You know, all the typical business questions are being avoided, and they're asking things such as, how are you artificially limiting supply? You know, that's how you attract the onus, the attention of those who want to basically lock things down, because you're not creating actual businesses, you're creating, I don't want to say scam, because I can't stand that word, but you're creating a facade of success versus actually succeeding. Yes, I got interest from Africa. Yes, I have some. We'll see if it turns into actually actual business. I don't want to tell you which countries yet. With an increase in the price of Verio raised to 100 times F exposure, it probably would not, but we'll see. We're still experimenting with pricing. You have any African nations interested? Yes, we have a couple. Will the rent be paid out only in F, or Verio be an option? Currently, it's in F, okay, but we'll see about the Veri. The Veri, I don't want to make as an actual currency. I want that Veri to be what it is, prepaid fees, okay, but because the Veri is programmable, it is very, very flexible, and as time goes on, we can build upon this business model. Mexico needs the most to sell silver by bypassing the COMEX and IBMA. That's possible. The entire continent needs it. Africa, very highest percent of sales is on Alpha Delta. I'm concerned about the hacks. Where can I buy it safely? Do you need sales staff? Yes, I need competent sales staff. I understand you're concerned about Alpha Delta hacks, not to defend Alpha Delta, but almost all the other exchanges are getting hacked as well. Alpha Delta actually didn't get hacked. Their DNS server got hacked or compromised. There's a difference. Alpha Delta is cumbersome, I'll admit it. The interface is cumbersome, but Alpha Delta is very, very unique. Alpha Delta is a collection of smart contracts and it's truly decentralized. It's one of the only exchanges, or if it is an exchange, one of the only places you can buy and sell these assets where you maintain full control, possession, and ownership of your tokens, because you maintain a private key of these contracts. You maintain a private key of the addresses until you put them into the contracts. Understand what Alpha Delta is, and you understand that Alpha Delta is potentially the future. They have competition now, a lot of them coming on staff. If I'm not mistaken, Etfinex is now trading. Etfinex is Bitfinex's version for the Alpha Delta, smart contract driven. Using a different technology though, the O2, I think, technology, OT. Reggie, go after the bullion markets, gold and silver. I just had a conversation about that with a very large African nation. We'll see, and that African nation is very rich in gold, emeralds, rubies, and oil. Does Veri have a limit on the maximum amount of requests the beta receives? Well, it does. It has a limit now because it's in beta. Okay, when it comes out of beta, we will not throttle it. If we see there's a need to throttle due to performance and scaling issues, we may throttle it and open more than one beta. Okay, we'll see how it works, and we'll see how well the engineers are able to handle scaling issues and race conditions. Is it possible to volunteer? Absolutely. Email me, Reggie@Veritaseum.com, and or Messiah, M-A-S-I-A-H, @Veritaseum.com. Give us time to get back to you because we need help, of course, and we'll see what we can do. We need as much help as possible. What determines rental Veri price? Agreement between the renter and the rentee. That's what determines it. Okay, no fixed price. You guys have to actively create value, actively agree on the price and terms. Are you still pitching Veri to your midtown neighbors? Yes, I am. How many parts does one Veri token break down to? Veri uses the same 18 decimal nomenclature as Ethereum in the ERC20. But the full 18 decimals, of course, are not visible on the interface of the Veda. I think the Veda is 4 or 8 decimals, I'm not sure. So you can take a look at it, download it, and take a look. I would love to get my Latin American clients to look at Veri. Will Aroca, I would love for you to get your Latin clients to look at Veri. Contact me, let's talk. Appreciate your team's hard work and effort. Thank you very much. Don't know what to say with any intelligence. So healthy New Year. Thank you very much, my friend. That would be Brian Sullivan. Harmony, one Veri right now is about 0.022 BTC. Does Veri have a limit? The maximum amount of requests the beta receives? I answered that one. If Veri price goes to 20K, for example, will the exposure be 100F to Veri? It will probably not. We probably adjust it. What we could do is we can express the pricing of the Veri in US dollars, which would give some stability to it. Okay, that is, we left that flexibility into the code and created an administrative backend that could be used in simple English. And so that would be the route we'll go. Okay, and we can take advantage of stability of the USD, relative stability to USD, because everybody who says that the US dollar is stable, the reason it seems stable is because it declines at a relatively stable pace, losing about 95% of its purchasing power. Forget the price, focus on value. Thank you very much, Svezletna Fox. Thank you very much. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Believe that. Can we use Veritaseum with a hardware wallet? Of course you can. Trezor and Nano. Whoever makes the Nano, I forget. The Trezor wallet and whoever makes the Nano S, that works perfectly. The Ledger Nano S, Very is a game changer. What's the best way to protect my Very wallet? A lot of different ways. Just take a look at the Trezor, the Nano for hardware. Key I'm not familiar with, but I've heard of it. It should work with the ERC20. Go through my Ether wallet, you can see software and encryption methods. Now, this is not advice. You ask me, I'll just give you places to look, okay? Security is very, very important. And most of the big security breaches that I've seen, I've experienced, are not necessarily, software programmers who are able to breaching defenses. They're basically social engineering, phishing and social engineering acts, where they trick people, and not necessarily the entity that they're hacking, but they bypass that entity security by going to one of their partners and breaking into them using social engineering and then going in through the back door. Regardless, if they get to the assets, they get to it. So it's not as if it's better or worse, but I'm just saying that to make sure everybody realizes how important security is and how important 360-degree security is, not just focusing on the front door, because the back door is usually the method of entrance for many of the bad guys and bad actors. By the way, as for the guys who hacked us and attempted to hack us, just to let you know, got your names and addresses, social security number, and everything else. I got you. You play with thieves, and thieves can't trust each other. So we're working on authorities, and I'm gonna come after you. I've been a little busy, but we're gonna get you. Okay? You'd have been better off simply just buying the Veritaseum versus trying to steal it. What is the minimum amount required for rent? We haven't settled on it yet, but I'd say maybe 1/3 Very. It's not etched in stone. There's no technical limit, but there's a practical limit because you have expenses that come into play, and you don't want the expenses to eat up the entire transaction. When do you think it will be out of beta and available for mere mortals? I can't answer that question. That's what the beta is for. If I could predict the future, I probably wouldn't need the beta. But we do predict it will go out of private beta somewhere around the first week of January, which is pretty good because I think it's the 28th of December right now. So that's a pretty aggressive timeline, but my guys are still sticking to it, so that's a plus. The public beta will go on until we feel that we've worked out all the issues, accepted and absorbed and digested and regurgitated as much positive, constructive feedback as possible. And it's passed both the security audit and maybe a bug bonus that we could put out. We don't want to recreate the Dow. Jamaica Stock Exchange. By the way, when it goes to public beta, mere mortals can use it, or if you just access the link. It's just that the amount you can use is going to be limited because we don't want anybody dumping in millions of dollars of exposure, despite the fact Reggie asked him 49 times, don't put too much exposure in. Jamaica Stock Exchange update, I don't have any as of yet. The Ghanaian president seems like he would be down with Very based on his recent talks against being exploited by the West. Well, Ghanaian president, and anybody who knows him, tell him to contact Reggie Middleton. I'll go through it in detail. How long would the beta test last and go live? I don't know that. Asking me how long a beta test lasts is like asking how long a surgery would go. You don't know that until the surgery is over. There could be complications. Things could go well. They cannot go well. We don't know yet. That's why we have the beta test, because we want to work out the kinks and the bugs and find the issues before they cause a problem and not after. Reggie, what happens if Ethereum blockchain becomes outdated? Can it be replaced with something else? We're blockchain agnostic, so we don't really care which blockchain we go with as long as it's the best one for the job. With that being said, I can't see the Ethereum blockchain being outdated anytime soon. Ethereum is a startup and it's a beta itself, and they're moving rapidly. And they, of course, have a lot of competition, but they also have a jump start on most of the competition. The Hyperledger project, the blockchain, is a richer blockchain, but the problem is it's not public. The network effect of the public blockchain is invaluable, and I don't think it can ever be matched by any private effort. What issues did you find in the private beta? Primarily interface communication issues. You know, people either didn't understand what this term meant or what the input was, or they assumed something and assumed it differently. The fix was actually very simple. Copious and verbose tooltips and hints and verbiage in the actual input spaces. And it looks like that has solved 80% of the issues. Other issues were minor things, formatting. The US dollar amount didn't have a comma in, didn't have a period, you know, behind in front of the decimals, decimal in front of the zeros, etc. So primarily formatting issues and communication through between the user and the interface, such as tooltips, etc., which is actually pretty good. What did you? Hey Reggie, sorry for my ignorance, but if I rent my Veri out to someone, will I receive my Veri back when the contract expires? Okay, I have answered that twice already in the video. EOS may eat F with its no fees. Possibility, we shall see. Why can't Bitcoin or future fork of Bitcoin hold all the same properties as Veri? Well, Bitcoin is very hard to program on a distributed basis, number one. If you remember, Veritaseum was initially launched on the Bitcoin blockchain. The business logic had to be centralized in the server, but the assets were decentralized, which is one of the most important parts. Wouldn't Veri servers crash if, say, $1 billion were to enter the market? Veri doesn't have servers. Veritaseum is a serverless application. So, no, they won't crash. ADA with EOS, okay, can we expect 5% monthly return from the minting Veri? That all depends upon your ability to pick the correct deals, pick the correct mentees, and negotiate the best terms, as well as deal flow going through the Veritaseum machine itself. Yes, this is a nice view. This is the office of Veritaseum over Times Square, being that it's New Year's, or close to New Year's Eve. If you take a look right up there, I don't know if you can see it, that pole, that's where the ball drops. So it falls right down there, the ball drops right on top of the Veritaseum, New York City, US headquarters. Of course, I'm not going to be here because it's going to be probably 4 degrees and a bunch of maniacs and Homeland Security running around shaking everybody down, and not my cup of tea, not my idea of fun. I'm more of a dad, to be truthful. Is there a minimum rental time with Veri? I think the minimum rental time is probably a fifth of an hour. That would be a total waste of your money, of course, because you have to pay fees, and it's a slim chance that you get enough movement in that time to justify the fees. If you do, you just lucked out, because that's pure gambling speculation, and that's really not the concept of the Veda. The Veda is to strategically and fundamentally access assets that work in your favor. At FUD machine, we'll probably move to rootstock. That will be Bitcoin blockchain smart contracts, funny Veritaseum moving from BTC F to BTC. I don't know about that, but we'll see. I'll talk to rootstock guys that smart. But remember, you know, actual traction means a lot. You know, a lot of people complain about Ethereum, but Ethereum is here. They produce it, it's working, and they're working. You know, it's not as if Ethereum is standing still. It's constantly under development. I have to give it to the guys, Vidalin Buterick and Joseph Lubrin and all the other initial Ethereum guys. You did a good job. You know, I had my doubts in the beginning, very ambitious project, and they pulled it off. So my hat's off to you. Buy Veri on Ether Delta, but be careful, etc. Will Veri the platform act on an exchange? Peer-to-peer value transfer. Any plans for Lightning Network or atomic swaps for Veri? Yes, we do have the atomic swaps, was something that we actually pioneered, I believe, and we're going to put a version of that into the Veritaseum platform, assuming it passes muster with the Dodd-Frank derivative regulations. How to participate in the beta program. To participate in the private beta program, if you own, control 1,000, yes, I still have a cough. If you own or control 1,000 Veri or more, contact me or Messiah, M-A-S-I-A-H, at Veritaseum.com with your holdings and a transfer of the amount that Messiah says to prove that you actually have access. We will give you a link. The reason we have to go through this nonsense is because of the FUD and fear, uncertainty, doubt, and outright lies that have been spread. I tire of it. So we have to have a little control over what we put out and tools put out publicly. Okay? Reggie is killing the Jamie Dimon rent seekers that are harming the world. Okay. Thank you. 19 days waiting for my withdrawal, BTC. Okay, I see we have 294 people online. Again, everybody, hit the subscribe button, pound that like button, and mash the share button. Share to everybody. Let's get everybody on the very bandwagon. Okay, most people have no idea that blockchain technology and software can do what Veritaseum does. For instance, someone asked the question, if a million or a billion users were to come into Veritaseum, would it crash our servers? And again, Veritaseum is a serverless product. There is no server. It's a serverless application with HTML5 web pages as clients that are fully distributed. Very, very unique application, both in how it's built and what it does. How it upgrades to Ethereum protocols such as rate and plasma effect of Veritaseum software products. I don't believe there is any significant effect except for potential improvements, but time will tell. 36912 month rentals for me. Get with me if you have. Would it be possible for Neo and Verity to do a partnership one day? I don't know much about Neo, but I'm open to anything worthwhile. If Litecoin is faster than Ethereum, why wouldn't we go to that? Veritaseum is not a trading platform. We don't need speed. We don't need lightning speed. Okay? I personally tend to take positions between 3 months and 5 years. Okay? I have no desire to, day trade. I have no desire for nanosecond clearing trades. It's just not necessary. I go for the long term. I'm looking to create value, and I'm looking to create value from a very high risk-adjusted reward perspective. It's very difficult to have to even measure high risk-adjusted reward when you're doing multiple transactions and creating a lot of froth and fees. Will all the terms between renters and renters be transparent to the market as a whole? No, it will not, because that will not be very fair to the renters and the rentees, would it? The terms are transparent to the renter and the rentee because it's a peer-to-peer, one-to-one transaction. Patent applications, so we're working on it. It's a matter of prosecution. It's just one small part of the business plan. So if they're granted, they're cool. If they're not granted, they're not. If they're not granted, we still have protection because we have prior art, and the prior art is in green. Okay, I believe they should be granted, but then again, that's me, and again, I'm biased, aren't I? Hello, I'm sorry, but you have a booger. I don't believe I have a booger, but thank you very much, Lori. Are there any blockchain companies looking to partner with Veritaseum? There are a couple, and if there are any others who are, then come see me, okay? What are your thoughts on Hashgraph? I haven't looked into Hashgraph. A couple of people have suggested I look into it, just haven't had the time. Love you, dude. Can't wait for the new stuff. Thank you very much, Louis. You seem like a great guy. There has been a lot of bull out there about you, and I think clearly is bull. There has, As a matter of fact, on that note, I'm not going to name these entities. I'm very tempted to, but I'm not going to name the entities, the people, etc. It should be obvious when you create a 35-page report with, professional formatting, and then you buy advertising on Twitter and Facebook and take the effort to collate our followers to put them in a mailing list, you have an agenda. Particularly when the content of that report is almost all nonsense and false, miscommunication. And then let's take a look at the conclusions. When Veritaseum was about roughly $70, they said Veritaseum is worth zero and will crash to zero. With no real fundamental analysis behind it, despite the fact that we were selling software and not investments. And, regardless of their interpretation, Veritaseum is roughly about 300. So instead of going for 70, I went for 7,300. They say that we don't have a team. Okay, so I guess our cutting edge, state of the art, without precedence, beta developed itself. Okay, just take a look at to market their proclamations, their findings. They said the research is garbage, they don't understand the fundamentals behind the research. Okay, and their statements made it very clear they didn't understand it. Or you could take a look at the results of the research. If you remember the 2 Veda shots that I did, November 8th, we put in $1.8 million. Right now, at $5.906 million is where that exact same portfolio lies. Diversified amongst 5 different digital assets. Okay, so with that amount of diversity, right, you have modified the risk sum, and you have more reward than going straight with Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. So, you know, the fuzzsters, these guys spreading FUD with these scam comments, etc., marketing the market, they look like absolute buffoons. This is the issue. If you don't understand the business model, say you don't understand it. If you don't understand the technology, if you don't understand what we're doing, say you don't understand it. You don't like the website, say you don't like the website. Calling us a scam, right, or anything else is ignorance, and basically over time it should make you look less credible, which is exactly what all these guys should look like. You know, you don't have to like us, you don't have to understand us, you don't have to believe in us. You can even say that, you know, you don't think you'll succeed. That's cool, individual opinion. You start libeling and slinging mud, you degrade yourself in terms of credibility. Of course, now, if you're anonymous and you have Proton Mail email addresses and no phone numbers and no faces and no LinkedIn links, then you don't really care about your credibility because you never showed yourself in the first place. Buyers beware. When you come across any entity like that, you can't trust them. Now, enough of that. Let's not discuss fuzzsters because we are on positivity right now. How developing countries like Ethiopia benefit from Veritaseum, or we could take a developing country like Ethiopia, which doesn't have a current exchange system or a commodities market, and we could create a digital asset market for them, okay, running directly on top of Veritaseum. We can do that very, very quickly. As a matter of fact, for any developing nation, okay, here's the deal I make for you. I will create the exchange based on Veritaseum. We could even use a Veda. I'll create a Veda for you. I'll swallow the entire development engineering bill, so you don't have to pay a dime, and I'll share revenues with you. So I will create a win-win situation, no loss, potential loss situation for you. That's how confident I am in what we're doing. Okay, so if you have connections in any of the developing nations, in Asia, in Africa, in Central or Eastern Europe, come see me, we'll do that. Okay, as long as we come to an agreement, right, we're serious, I'll fly over, we'll get it done. This is the Reggie Middleton through Veritaseum promise. Okay, when is the full public beta release? We're expecting somewhere around the first week of January. Using developer speak, that will probably mean second week in January or later, but we're going to stick to what I was told. Have you hired a marketing team? Not as of yet. Okay, we don't have the product out yet, so let's not market it yet. But I am in the market for a strong marketing team. I would like them to come on board as actual employees. So there's a team that's looking to jump onto the future of finance, investment, value, transfer, and technology. Then come see us. Private Beta has gotten great reviews from users. This is going to be big. Got to get some. Okay, thank you very much, Silvertooth. Reggie, you need to reach out to Ty Lopez and get his channel for interview. I will do it. I'm a little busy, but please ask him to come. If anybody wants to make the connection, I'm more than open. Are you open to the idea of an independent exchange to sell Veri in native currency? You have to explain what that means to me. Thank you for your patience with questions. No problem. I love the interface with the community. I like this new technology, this new media, which allows me to become part of the community and vice versa. A strong community is why Veritaseum was able to survive through all this negative nonsense and FUD. What is the ratio of Veri to ETH required to use the Veda? Right now it's set at 1 to 100. That's just a placeholder, it's nominal. We'll let the market actually set it as time goes on. Can you explain how the interface is distributed? That's a technical question. It doesn't live on a centralized server. Okay, it works through the blockchain and through distributed storage devices. With something like Veri drive incentive for businesses for better their bio footprints. It's a possibility. You know, the technology is there, you gotta put the business process and a business model behind it. How a country like Ethiopia, I explained that. Reggie's thinking bigger, yes. What books do you recommend on investing? That's a very big open topic. I can't describe that now, but if you go to the site, the Veritaseum site hasn't been worked on in a while. We're going to, of course, develop that, make it nice and pretty and slick, like a lot of developers seem to really want. And then I'm going to try and have an active community on it. The problem is active communities take a lot of resources to police. But I would like to do that because I used to do a lot of writing on everything from social economic stratification, social class, investment, fundamental analysis, macro, and I want to put this to work in the Veritaseum community, okay? So we have to figure out a way to do that. Gotta run, just want to say thank you. You're welcome, Tom D. I actually have to run myself. Before I go, everybody else, share this video, hit the share button now. There should be 325 shares. I see there 327 people online, but only 215 likes. So, some of you guys didn't like it. Hit that like button now. Let me hear that. Same thing with the subscribe if you haven't subscribed. There we go. I see the likes going up, 222. Keep going, fellas. I appreciate it. Have you looked into the Komodo blockchain? I don't have time to look at other blockchains. We put our resources into Ethereum. Let's get the product out first, get it working, right? Generating revenues, generating profits. Veritaseum research is already cash flow positive, so we need to do the same thing with the financial machines, integrate them tightly, then we could shop around other blockchains, okay? Will Veri be able to execute escrow services? Absolutely, absolutely. Think peer-to-peer, peer-to-peer letters of credit. What's the most unusual use case for Veri you've come across? Well, on my trip to DC, I talked to several power brokers there, and we're going to use the Vader to create voting devices, okay? Think of, I don't know if I should even broach the topic and tell you, but put it this way. We're bringing blockchain to U.S. politics, and we're creating political machines in addition to the financial machines. We're doing this in the very, very near term. Oh, with a team to die for, okay? Put together the best of the best. I'm excited about it, but again, backdoor negotiations, putting the team together hasn't launched yet. But when I do launch it, I'll tell you everybody who's been involved in putting together the intellectual capital, the political capital that went into it, and you'll see it go. I have another video that I'm probably going to launch tomorrow, okay? And that video will make a request out of the big Veri holders to participate into the political machine that we are building, or to participate in the political machine construction that we're building. Please check if your subscribers are getting notifications when you're live, or when you stumble across your live link. Okay, I'll check that if I can. Support you, Reggie. Is there any competition for Veri? I'm sure there is. A major competition would be the Wall Street banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan's, Morgan Stanley's. I don't think they're aware of it yet. We do have some startup competition, but they're not research focused like we are, so it's not direct competition. Would you consider implementing Cliff High's predictive linguistics as part of the Vader's research? Yes, I would consider that. I definitely would. Cliff High has been out for a while. He's developed a track record. Cliff, if you're listening, let's give that a discussion. I think that might work. Keep going, Reggie. You need to do more marketing. Yeah, I need to do a lot of things, and marketing is not one of them, not just one of them. Trust me. How does one invest in Veritaseum? Is there a minimum amount? Well, Veritaseum is not taking investors. We're a private company. Right now, all we're doing is selling our tokens. Our tokens are not investments. Our tokens are the sales of prepaid fees for our products and our services. Okay? We believe our products and our services are uber valuable, and we believe they will become much more valuable as time goes on, both as we polish them and make them better, and as the market understands and grabs the value of our products and services. Demand will increase. When demand increases, supply doesn't, right? Price goes up. Economics 102. A lot of FUD around you, but I'm still a believer. Yes, after a certain amount of FUD, you think might be onto something, right? Will Veri platform offer an option for education for those of us who use Veri but are unsophisticated in the world of high financial? Yes, it will. Big on education. If you remember Sims, the clothing store, an educated consumer is our best customer. Believe that. Richard Johansson, Reggie So Humble, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that. And we have 352 members online. I think we're getting close to a record. I was going to retire, but you know, we have so many guys who are getting so much love, I have to keep going, but I'm getting a little tired. Why is this platform closed source when every single other platform in crypto is open source? Well, I don't see what every single other platform in crypto has to do with our business. Our business is closed source because it's highly competitive, and we derive revenues and value directly from our platform. So to make a platform open source means that you have to derive your revenue and value from an ancillary source to the actual platform, or else people can simply steal your code and use it, and you can't profit from it. Okay, so that's the long answer to it. The short answer is, you know, we're not every other platform in crypto, so that's sort of an irrelevant question in my perspective. Reggie, I'm very excited for 2018. I am as well. Anyone know Data Dash? I don't know Data Dash. Your world changing, exciting times. The fudders understand very well the value of Veritaseum. Education is important to minimize risk. That's very true. In the beginning, pre-IPO, there was a lot of FUD. Reggie has proved the fuss is wrong. Reggie hasn't proved the fuss is wrong. Reggie's team has. Okay? I don't publicize the team, but there's quite a few guys there. They're working hard. There's no way in the world I could do this on my own. I wish, hopefully it should be obvious. But, you know, let's give credit to Team Veritaseum. The FUD is dead. Very killed it with one blow. Hopefully, but, you know, unfortunately, FUD seems to get up and rise from the dead like the Walking Dead, the zombies. So just remember, they smell bad. Is there how to get involved with anyone? We will have that up soon. Okay, does the Vader have the ability to diversify the exposure? Well, it does have the ability to diversify the exposure by increasing the amount of assets that are in the portfolio. So that's the answer to that question. Cliff High's data showed already back in April that Veritaseum would be one of the biggest tokens. His newest data showing 20,000 USD. Only 289 people watching this. So many have no clue. See you on Pluto, very holders. I understand. Okay. I am live. We're going to get going. Okay, so it looks like a lot of questions are being asked, or questions that were answered both earlier on in the video and definitely in other videos. I've been talking for a while. I have somebody waiting for me in the office, and honestly, I'm tired. I will try and do this later on. Chuck Adams asked, why did TechCrunch call Veritaseum vaporware? That's a very good question, TechCrunch, especially since there was a live link to a working beta, right on the site. And so you could call something vaporware with a working beta. Maybe we should question the amount of research that went into that, but let's not get into he said, she said. Maybe it was just a simple error. Maybe they thought it was vaporware. What are you doing for this community is amazing, and I am happy looking forward. I appreciate that. What this community is doing for us is equally as amazing, if not more so. I appreciate you. I love you all. Reggie, 1 minute elevator pitch. We have celebrity Omar Bam in the house. Enabling peer-to-peer commerce where Jan can do business directly with John without needing to trust a middleman or a gatekeeper. Safer, more transparent, faster, more valuable. That's not 1 minute, that's more like 9 seconds, right? Pretty good. I'm getting better at it. Can you explain the revenue projections on and your TA? I don't do TA. I feel TA means technical analysis, which I don't do. And revenue projections, I don't understand what you mean. Chuck Adams, TechCrunch, Vapor Media, okay. Does Vader eat my Very forever and give perpetual revenue, or do I get my Very back after contract term? If you do a contract rental, we've answered this twice before, but this is the last time. Contract rent returns a Very or an equivalent in collateral as you engineer the terms of your contract. Economic rent means that the Vader eats the Very, but you get perpetual in perpetuity to the end of the contract term. the P&L of the deal that you participated in. Okay, Bitcoin maximums have a problem with altcoins slowing Bitcoin to crypto rate. Okay, so 342 members. I'm glad to have you all on board. One more time before I go, everybody hit the share button, share to everybody. This is going to go and be saved online on YouTube so you can review it. Everybody hit the like button, okay, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And for anybody who hasn't seen the demo, go to the YouTube video previous to this one, and you can see where I did a demonstration. I went through the private beta of the beta for everybody to see. That beta, that particular version has been upgraded, incorporating the feedback from the private beta users. Either that feedback is available right now or will be available by tomorrow morning Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Goodbye, everybody. I love you guys. The community is wonderful. Support. Au revoir. Peace. Sayonara. Adios. Thank you very much. And how do I end this?